Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Trust everybody's doing well. I expect you can hear us all. I tried to turn on my mic and there it is. So thank you all for being here today. I appreciate your interest and engagement in what's going on with Innovate Alabama. So as we get started today with our meeting, we certainly want to thank the Alabama Farm Credit folks for allowing us to be in their facility and for their initiative. Also, as we get started, I want to welcome the board members and thank them for their engagement and involvement, and all of you, of course, that are here to support our efforts today. We have a very important new member of the board, Danny. Thank you, sir. We're excited that you are here. We recognize there are two members of our board that have rolled off under what are the appropriate statutes, and you are coming onto the board. And there are going to be one other board member that's going to be coming as well, but we want to welcome you. And before we get started with the details of our meeting today, I'm going to give you the floor for a few minutes and let folks know who you are. And we know where you're from, but a little bit about Hudson Alpha, kind of what brought you to us. We're very excited.
Okay. Well, I'm Danny Wyndham. I am from Huntsville. I moved to Huntsville a really long time ago to go to work for a company that was founded by two very successful entrepreneurs. And it was a very entrepreneurial company. And having grown up in rural Mississippi, I swear I couldn't spell entrepreneur at the time. But they took an interest in me and took an interest in my career. And within 3 years of going to work at that company, I left to go start my own company. And I've been in the tech industry in Huntsville for many years, have been involved in more than a dozen startups in Huntsville. Enjoy doing that still today as board members and as an investor in some of them. And the understanding that somebody who knows nothing about entrepreneurship can learn from someone who's willing to help teach them has been part of my mantra. The guys who did that for me made me want to do that for other less experienced entrepreneurs coming along. And so I have been doing that for my entire career. There's only one of me. I can only do that for a small number of companies, and certainly I can't invest a lot of money there. And so I was interested in joining this board because this is the organization that should do that for the state. And so I'm hopeful that I can do something to help contribute to the mission of this organization.
Well, Danny, thank you so much for your willingness to participate. And our board can tell already that you're well equipped to be a great member of this board and have a lot to offer. So we look forward to working with you, sir. Thank you for being here today. Let me also mention, I am not Chairman Poole. So we are missing the chairman today. We're going to call the roll here in a moment, but we're going to have 100% participation of our board today, with the exception Chairman Poole is on a vacation with his family. And as I've said to a couple of board members earlier, he said, well, if everybody can make it and I can't, then that's okay. Y'all go on with the meeting. So Director Poole told me that the vacation timing was the last vacation for his family with his daughter, who's his oldest child, about to go to college. And so he said, this is going to be a big deal for our family. So we hope they're having a great time. Also, there may be other guests that are here today. I know I have one guest from the University of Alabama, Edward Fountain. Edward joined me today to learn about Innovate and what all's going on in our organization here. Are there other board members that have guests? Anyone else that you want to identify today that is here in the audience that's part of what we're doing? All right. Thank the rest of you. We certainly appreciate you being here. As far as moving forward, we are going to quickly turn the floor over to the President Pro Tem of the Alabama Senate, who is a board member as well. Senator Garland Gudger is hosting us in beautiful Cullman, Alabama, which was easy for me. I only drove 35 minutes to get over here this morning. But I appreciate so much the president being willing to not only host this event and find a good home, but also the events coming up later tonight. So, Mr. President, thank you for being with us. Thank you for hosting us in your town. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. Danny, thank you for being on the board. Welcome. We're excited about working with you and being able to make great things happen for the state with you on our board. So thank you for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, I bet about even 3 months ago, you did not have been in Coleman, Alabama at a board meeting on your bingo card, but you're here. So I want to say thank you from all of the people in Coleman, Alabama. You're going to find hospitality. You're going to find good food. If you go out to the restaurants, you're going to find people that care and love their community, just like you do, most of Alabama, but especially here because we have a pride that is here in Coleman, Alabama, that we are thankful that we have you here and that we want to extend our welcome to you and our hospitality. So thank you for the board members for being here. Thank you for everybody that's sitting around the edge of the room for being here. There are a few people that are from Coleman I would like for you to know. So if it's all right for a point of personal privilege.
Yes, sir.
Introduce those people, Mr. Chairman. I'd appreciate that. First, we have the infamous Miss Peggy Smith that has been in economic development forever, and then we did not let her go, even though she tried to retire. We've moved her to the chamber for a few years, and then now with tourism. So in front of you is a bag of information of Coleman, and then also a coffee mug that they produced there at the tourism office. And she is here behind us. Please wave or stand up for us, please. Thank you for being here. Dr. Carla Wicks of Wallace State Community College. She is the president of Wallace State Community College. I call it the crown jewel of the junior college system. So Dr. Carla Wicks, please stand, and I want to say thank you for being here and taking your time out of your schedule to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, these two ladies help run this whole community. And so if you want something done, you're going to be talking to at least one of them on anything that we do. We're blessed to have both of them here today. As we go forward, we have Representative Tim Wadsworth that represents part of Coleman County. Representative, thank you for being here with us today. And one of our own in Innovate travels back and forth from Coleman every day, but he didn't have to travel too far today. Mr. Will Harding, thank you for being over there and holding up that wall for us. I appreciate that, my friend. Guys, we're thankful that you're here. We're thankful for having the board meeting here. I love showing off this community. We are going to have a small reception at the All-Stake later this afternoon. If you're able to stay, we'd love to have you there. If you can't, we understand, because I know time is of the essence for a lot of people to get back home and take care of family. But if you are able, thank y'all for being here. That's all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here. And one last thing. Without the Alabama Farm Credit Organization, we would not be able to be in this wonderful room, and finding a good conference room that is big enough to seat everyone around the edge of this room and the board members has been a little tough, but I'm so thankful that Mel and his organization allowed us to be here. So if you're thinking about buying land, this is the place to come to statewide. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. President. We appreciate that. And again, thank all those in and around Coleman, Alabama that are welcoming us today and welcoming this board. All right, the next item on our agenda is we've got two approvals required for minutes of board meetings. And so the first is January the 14th. This is in your packet, included in the second tab on your packet. So I will entertain a motion. We have a motion. We have a second. Second. All in favor of adopting the January 14th minutes as presented, say aye. Aye. All opposed. And we have approval on the January 14th minutes. Now on tab 3 is the April 3rd minutes of the board meeting on April the 3rd. And yes, ma'am. That'd be a good idea. We're going to go ahead and accomplish this, then we'll go back and call the roll, because y'all going to answer then too. But we'll get this done. April the 3rd on the board meeting. Do we have a motion? So moved. Second. Have a second. All in favor of adopting the April 3rd board meeting minutes as presented, say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right. Now we'll go backwards. Jordan, are you going to call the roll for us? Go ahead, Mr. Howard.
Chair Bill Poole.
Yeah.
Vice Chair Greg Reed.
Here.
Representative Anthony Daniels. Representative Danny Garrett.
Here.
Senator Garland Gudger.
Here.
Senator Bobby Singleton.
Here.
Mr. Rich Phelan.
Here.
Mr. Ray Parker.
Here.
Ms. Brittany Somerville.
Here.
Mr. Danny Wyndham.
Here.
Vice Chairman Reed, we have a quorum.
Great. Thank you, sir. Well, appreciate your tolerance and us moving things in a different order. All right, next thing is going to be hearing from our CEO, Cynthia. We've got a lot of focus in the year of 26, and you're going to tell us all about it. So thank you so much for your leadership of this august board and of Innovate. So you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Vice Chairman Reed. And again, thanks everybody for being here today. We are enjoying Coleman so far. We have tracked all the way from Birmingham, not too far, but it was a good trip and we're all very happy to be here. I'm not going to take a lot of time because you'll be hearing from the program directors a little bit later. But I want to say that, when we started the year, our focus really was on rural. We're continuing that push. You're going to hear some of those items today from various team members as they talk through the engagements that we've been doing in rural communities. Biggest thing we're doing is making sure that we tell the Alabama story inside and outside of Alabama. I think it was last week. They're all drawing together right now. If you were in Birmingham, we did support the SLOSS Tech conference last week, an amazing conference. We had over 1,200 people from not just this country, but people outside the country as far as Paris. So we really did have a great time just showcasing everything in Birmingham, everything across the state of Alabama. We actually had from each of the jurisdictions, the top 5, but we also had Dothan and Decatur who also participated, just showcasing for everyone what's going on within their jurisdictions, and that was very well received. We also attended last week with Department of Commerce, the Bio International Conference in San Diego. Our focus there is really not just trying to understand what's going on in that sector, but we really want to make sure that we understand what those companies need as they're trying to grow within the state of Alabama. So we had 2 team members join the EDPA team, the commerce team, just doing that, raising the flag for the state of Alabama. Also want to say that our focus going forward, I think we're getting really good traction with Pilot AL, with corporates, and also with the studio. But we are reaching out to very large corporates, particularly in the Huntsville market, trying to get organizations like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Northrop Grumman to start participating in our initiatives. And we think our new board member, Danny, can certainly help us with those challenges. So you guys heard a little bit about Innovate Alabama 2.0. We're working that strategy. We hope to round that out, hopefully around the end of December, and we'll be ready to start rolling that out early January. So we're excited about that. If you recall from the commission report, many of the things that were identified there have been accomplished, still being improved, still being modified. But most of those initiatives have been accomplished. So what we're looking to do now is what's that next phase? Based on where we are, we've done a tremendous job, I think, and this is not just Innovate Alabama, but across the entire ecosystem, really leaning into those small businesses, very, very small businesses, pre-seed, early stage companies, and really helping them get started in the state of Alabama. The challenge for us now is keeping them here. Now that we've convinced them and they've said we want to stay in Alabama, our task now is to look to that next level. So you'll hear about commercialization. All of those things are designed to help those companies into the next phase, helping them with customer acquisition so that they have a reason to stay in Alabama. And again, what you're going to hear a lot more details from the team as they talk through the various programs. And with that, we will go ahead and kick it off with Hope from Internal Affairs. External Affairs, sorry about that.
So internal, external, all of them.
All of the affairs.
Just a quick little update. Like Cynthia mentioned, we've got a robust agenda with a lot of speakers and founders and team members participating today, but wanted to do just a quick little overview of the 2026 legislative session. Many thanks to our legislative board members who continued the support and advocacy for the funding. We did remain level funding for FY27. Moving forward, we have our network roadshow that we kicked off, then proudly completed 4 rural spaces. Lots of engagement from the communities, lots of support and attendance and participation from legislative members as well. So moving forward, we're looking to expand on that instead of just having strictly the network, including all the programs and highlighting, excuse me, highlighting the communities. Pardon me. Also, we will be working with each of you to look forward the 2027 policy areas that will need to be addressed, specifically including tax credits. So with that, it's been a busy season so far. I'm going to steal Commissioner Blankenship's thunder for a minute and proudly announce that our investor, Mr. Luke Cooper, and Abe participating in the governor's one-shot turkey hunt, and Luke actually was the winner. So it was great. And he's also vegan, so he's like, not sure what I'm going to do with that. So if board members, if you have any questions, like I said, I'm going to try to keep it brief. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Hope. All right, now we're going to be moving to access to capital update, and I'm going to go back to Cynthia and those that are going to be involved in this particular topic.
So we are rolling right along with SSBCI, and I think you're going to hear some really good updates today. Representative Daniel, Representative Garrett, if you would go ahead and give us the intro.
Thank you, Cynthia. One of the more interesting discussions that I've had since been in the legislature was early on when we had such a, and continue to have a low unemployment rate. Everybody thought that was just great. We had arrived. But the problem is we have a very low labor participation rate. And that's really more important. That's really the problem for Alabama. And often what we do when we attract new industry in the state, we are poaching labor. We're not creating the new jobs. So this reason this small business credit initiative is so important is because it's focused on just that, creating jobs and the access to capital, the private investment. And we've been 2 years into the program, and great to hear an update today from Charlie Pond, our executive director of this area, to give us, tell us about our progress.
Yep. Thank you, Representative Garrett. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a big room. Y'all are the farthest away I think y'all have ever been as we've given these updates. To Representative Garrett's point earlier, you know, it's the 250th anniversary of Declaration of Independence this week, but it's also the second anniversary of SSBCI since we launched at SLOSS Tech in 2024. At that SLOSS Tech event, we were introducing the program and what we hoped it could be. This year, as Cynthia pointed out, we attended again and were able to see 5 portfolio companies featured as speakers, as experts, showing the success rates of their individual companies. We also had 4 of our partners from our Fund to Funds program that were on stage and talking about the good work they are doing across the state of Alabama. And then to Cynthia's point earlier around the Bio International event, we actually had 2 portfolio companies and companies that we've invested in, one of which is in this room, that we were able to meet out at Bio, who were spreading the message around the opportunity here in the state of Alabama. We're getting really close. As you'll remember, our funding is received in tranches, and we're working through our second tranche. We are so close to that 80% of tranche 2, which will allow us to go apply for tranche 3. The application is in real time being updated. And as soon as we cross that threshold, we're going to press send and start that process for pulling down our third and final tranche, which will give us the full $98 million here in the state. And we're excited to continue to deploy that to the small businesses across both programs. I'll start with Lindale, and as President Gudger mentioned, one of Coleman's own leads our Lindale program, Will Harding. As we've talked to small businesses and lenders through this program, Will's really hit the ground running and been able to, deliver insight and be a thought leader across the state. So I wanted to give him the opportunity to come up and talk a little bit about what he's seeing on the ground as we talk to lenders and small businesses around the way that our programs are being impactful and how they can continue to be impactful as we move forward. Will.
Thank you, Charlie. And it is so good to see everybody in my hometown of Coleman, Alabama. Welcome to everyone, and I hope you all enjoyed your time here. I'd like to give you just a brief update on what we're seeing kind of on the broader lending environment across the state. In short, banks across the country are still pulling back on small business lending, and the Fed expects that to continue. The Federal Reserve's most recent survey of senior bank loan officers released in April of this year found that banks tightened standards on commercial and industrial loans again last quarter for borrowers of every size. There is a silver lining to that. The pace of tightening has slowed sharply. As of January, the net share of bank tightening standards for small business loans had dropped to roughly 4%, down from about 18% a year ago. That is the smallest tightening in about 4 years. Slower tightening does not necessarily mean open credit. Banks are still net restrictive on small business lending. In that same survey, banks told the Fed that they expect credit quality for small businesses specifically to deteriorate further in 2026. What we're seeing in the marketplace for reasons that banks are tightening aren't necessarily weak demand from borrowers. It's a less certain economic outlook, lower risk tolerance, and regulatory caution. The demand is there, but the risk appetite is not. That is exactly the gap that LendAL fills. Our credit enhancements do not manufacture demand. Alabama's small businesses are already asking for credit. What we're doing is help cushion the risk that's currently making lenders say no, so that they can say yes and instead, and that we can unlock that private capital. So the takeaway is simple. This is not a moment where small business credit risk is resolving on its own. It's a moment where targeted, well-structured credit enhancement matters more. That's the case for LendAL today and the credit enhancements that we have in place. Thank you for a couple minutes to allowing me to update you on the program.
And to Will's point, this success that we've had over the past 2 years has really been evident in the impact. I want to call out just a few KPIs that we monitor. We just finished our 2025 annual reporting on the Lend side. We're able to, this is net job creation, 103 net jobs from our credit enhancements. And that is real data that we've, gone a before and after picture. Private capital unlocked, over $43 million in private capital that we've been able to secure for small businesses through these enhancements. And then finally, the big number that I want to point out is that $1.2 million recycled funds. We're starting to see, we began the program in 2024. We're starting to see some of those funds recycle back. So, and the way that happens is 3 ways. You're either the bank is comfortable with that small business operating without the enhancement, which is a success. The company may not need that loan anymore, which they're able to cash flow it from operations. So that's a success. Or the bank, the company has failed and the loan is no longer needed. That hasn't happened yet. And so we're seeing some good results with the program there. And I want to highlight a couple of companies that we're seeing in the space. Synvivo out of Huntsville, which is a organ on a chip technology based in Huntsville. Mad Security in Huntsville, as well as a cybersecurity firm that we were able to help get a big loan to expand operations. We've worked with a couple of HR tech companies in the Birmingham area, and then we've got several pipeline companies that we're really excited about that align with our other catalyst sectors, but also the reindustrialization efforts that we're trying to support across the state. Turning to InvestAL. First, I want to thank Rodney Sampson and his team. They helped stand up the program and execute the program for many years. So we're thankful for them and the work that they did to support our program. We continue to focus on co-investments in our direct portfolio that help drive economic development goals for Alabama, that are creating and attracting jobs, and that are generating returns so we can evergreen this fund. And so you see a couple of the key metrics here around the total capital deployed, which, that $15 million that we've deployed has been a part of nearly $100 million in private capital as part of those seed and Series A rounds, supporting 31 portfolio companies directly across the state. And you see some of the companies per sector. I do want to invite up Mike Goodrich and Steve Daly from TixieMed, which is one of our companies that we've supported through this efforts. And I say that we are supporting them, but they are driving a lot of impact for Alabama and their space. So Mike, Steve.
Thank you, Charlie.
Shoot, I'm wearing the same shirt. Did not plan that one. Thank y'all very much.
You look good, Mike.
I'm trying to. I really do appreciate the time to address you guys. I have been thrilled to be a part of the Invest AL program. I've been doing this since 2014, really all my career based on my law. And our dedication is to growing Alabama-based companies. We've been doing this since 2020 with a fund before Invest AL got set up. We had an initial $6.2 million fund, which is focused on the life science sector, UAB, and others across the state. We were supported by private capital, and we've invested in about 21 companies, many of which have gone to raise substantial follow-on capital. In 2024, with your help, we launched a second opportunity fund, $2 million of private capital and $1 million coming from Invest AL, which we're working through now. The case for equity investment, which is what we make, is in Alabama is strong. You can give all sorts of facts about, there's a dearth of equity capital in here, and so you can come in and make the market. But the real reason we do this is because we live here. I just got Steve to live here. I'm here. I'll be here all my life, and we want this to be a great state. We're building big companies. To kind of give you a flavor of what we're doing and what our investment thesis is, how we're going about doing this. Every time we write a check, we're looking for a 10 times check to come back to us. That's means big companies, large companies. That's no knock against small businesses. I love small businesses, but we're looking for big companies. And then what we try to do is get them to raise more institutional capital. They've got to go out of state to raise institutional capital. And that's a huge problem that we have in Alabama that we'll face over the next decade, because every time people leave the state to get their institutional capital, it increases the risk that they leave the state and their headquarters. But to give you a brief sense, we've done Novicuff, which raised $26 million from Avicuff, Archimedes, which secured $2.2 million from Sherpa, Link, which y'all were also in, was $21 million from TQ, Exo Armor, 4.75 from Benson Capital, Acclinate, $7 million from Syncora, and Uva Biosystems, $7.5 million. And additionally, these are the public ones, and we've received non-dilutive funding and other bridge gaps funding for companies like TixieMed, which we'll address briefly. But to kind of set the stage for TixieMed, what we're trying to do is build big companies. Probably the biggest win, and you are all familiar with this on the economic development front, was the Eli Lilly plant coming to Huntsville. Huge, great, good jobs. What we're trying to do is be the corporate headquarters for these large companies that then go out to other states and put manufacturing facilities there. That's our goal. That's our job. And I want to bring up Steve, who is the TixieMed CEO, briefly talk about TixieMed and what he's trying to do raising there.
Sure. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today to Mike and Charlie. Appreciate the invitation. It was good to see you in San Diego at the BIO conference. My name is Steve Daly. I'm the CEO here at TixieMed. I have about 30 years or so in pharma and biotech, predominantly in the diabetes arena. TixieMed was spun out of the University of Alabama based on some 20 years of academic work by Dr. Nath Shalev, who runs the Diabetes Center at UAB. She discovered really the first new target in type 1 diabetes in years. So you all have heard about GLP-1s, maybe SGLT2s. Nath discovered a new target called TXNP. Now, it turns out that TXNP has a play in a whole host of diseases. It's ubiquitously increased in a number of different disease states. The first focus for TixieMed will be in type 1 diabetes. We've been doing a lot of the first in human work, and Invest Alabama has been a tremendous part of that. The company has raised about $10 million to date. And so far we're just kicked off last week, the second human study for our drug. We're in the midst of a $35 million raise to Mike's point. And in that vein, we're reaching out to a lot of VC groups that are in New York, Boston, London, Munich, overseas, to help fill that gap. That $35 million will take us all the way through the end of what's called the phase 2A, which will be the first in-patient study that we show, in this case, type 1 people with recent onset type 1 diabetes. So it's tremendous unmet need in that space. There's only one approved drug out there right now. You've all heard about insulin, and you know that insulin is used to routinely manage diabetes, but insulin doesn't affect the disease itself. We're aiming to do that. There is one other drug out there right now called Tzield that you may have heard of. It's from Sanofi, but originally it was developed by a company called Prevention Bio. Prevention Bio went public at around, I don't know, $4 or $5 a share, and they were acquired by Sanofi, the large Paris-based pharmaceutical company, for nearly $3 billion. Just to show you how big an unmet need this is for type 1 diabetes, this type 1 specific therapy. Another company called Sema Therapeutics was working in the islet cell space, the idea being that you could transplant islet cells from stem cells into people who have type 1 to replace the lost insulin producing cells that those folks lost because of the immune system attack. That company went for nearly $900 million to Vertex. So we don't have a go alone plan. We want to work with investors to bring this drug forward in type 1 and also in the other disease states where TXNIP is a culprit, again, discovered by Anal Shalev at University of Alabama. And so far, Invest Alabama has been a tremendous part of our work, getting us through this pivotal phase where we're doing our first in human work to show the relevance of our drug. So I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to talk, give you a little bit of a small view of what we're trying to accomplish at TXIMED, and thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Chairman, I cede back the rest of my time. I think I went over a little bit, so thank you.
Good information, Charlie. We appreciate so much you gentlemen being with us today and sharing the successes. And we're excited about this particular area, which is something that I constantly am talking about, of which the board can be assured of. Had Innovate Alabama not existed, the opportunity for us to go after $98 million for small businesses in Alabama would not have been a reality. So that's another great idea of how Innovate has been such an important player in growing Alabama's economy. So with that, great news. All right, Ms. Crutchfield, back to you for Venture Studios.
Okay, thank you very much. And Brittany, if you would go ahead and provide us the intro for the studios.
Absolutely, thank you. So this is an update on our Venture Studio and our Venture Studio Fund. Just as a reminder, we partnered with Harmony Venture Labs, founded by the amazing Shagan Atalana, who's joined us today. This group is partnering with corporates to identify some market opportunities, some market problems, just an opportunity to fix or create something in certain industries to create a new corporate opportunity. And so Shagan and his team are working with these corporates. They are joining together and creating a small startup for each opportunity, which will then flourish and grow into a new company. We launched this in March, so we've had a couple of updates so far. We're seeing some good momentum. And then the fundraising progress has also been made by the Venture Studio Fund, which that provides the capital that's needed to support this initiative. I'm going to turn it over to Mary Beth Grant to walk through the progress.
Great. Thank you so much, Brittany. Really excited, like Brittany said, we officially launched the studio back in March of last year. So it's been just over a little over a year, and we've had a lot of really great momentum. Shagan and his team has really gone out to try to identify some of those corporate partners, sit down with them, understand the ins and outs of their business, what problems are their employees seeing, but also what problems are their customers seeing, and trying to kind of solve those things within that system and try to create a company out of that. Just last week at Sauce Tech, Shagan and I were on the main stage giving an update about the Venture Studio and announcing that there are 3 new companies launching this summer. So we're really excited that the first tranche of companies are coming out of the studio. They're launching, they're hiring talent. They're already got some customer attraction with some letters of intent to work with those startup companies as they roll out of the studio. And we've also had some great momentum on the fundraising. So Innovate Alabama came in as the kind of the anchor LP for the fund, and we've been able to continue on fundraising as well. We're also actively looking for additional corporate partners to work with the studio. So if anyone listening online or anyone here in Coleman has a great company that might be interested with partnering with the studio, we'd love to chat with them. But I'd also like to welcome up Shagan from Harmony Venture Labs to go into a little bit more depth about some of those companies that are launching and give you an update.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me. Hey, Brittany and everybody on the board. Thanks, Cynthia. It's actually really good to be here and to see what Innovate Alabama is doing throughout the state. I was part of the folks that were asked, what do we want to see in the state, and eventually led to Innovate Alabama. I didn't think at some point I'll be working with Innovate Alabama. So I just thought it needed to exist. So it's great that it now exists in the state. For those of you who don't know, I'm an entrepreneur in the technology space. Alabama has been very good to me. I came here to go to college, ended up building $1 billion business here. And for me, I just felt the next phase of my life would be building things. That's what I was pretty much put in this world to do, is build companies, build people. And as part of HVL's mission is, how do we really just build companies throughout the state? Because we know that if we can build successful startups, yes, some of them are going to fail, but a lot of them will have enough traction that it will be just fundamentally highly, highly impactful. The way I talk about it is every community, every state, city, everywhere needs to have things that bring soul to it and things that bring scale. And the way you want to think about it is a lot of our small businesses are in the business of making money, but it's a soul-based business. They're the things that make it fun for us to live where we live. They're the restaurants and places our kids go and things like that. But you have to also build businesses of scale, because when you don't, the other businesses actually end up dying. And we are not in the business of the soul business. We spend money with them, but we don't know how to build them. I'm just being honest with you. we kind of know how to just build very large companies. And the team, we felt the existing corporations in Alabama were fantastic places to go find really big problems to solve. The size of a company is a direct correlation to the size of the problem it's solving. So we felt we could go find very interesting problems in our existing corporations, and that we can use our team to facilitate the building of those companies and also have a dedicated capital to fund those companies, and use a fund type vehicle to pull capital out of the existing companies in Alabama to invest in early stage startup and spread the risk of investing across the fund. So that was the thesis. And honestly, if something like Innovate Alabama didn't exist, I don't know who else would have been a partner with us in that. But I spoke to Cynthia, I spoke to Brittany, and they were like, let's do it. I was like, great, that's fantastic. And we took it upon ourselves to just be part of it. It's been about a year of kicking off the studio and less than a year of actually kicking off the fund. So if you think about it, in less than a year, we've been able to work with Innovate to raise north of $10 million into the fund, which I think is really remarkable. And we've been able to talk to a lot of companies, 3 of which are now launched or about to get launched in the space of a year. This is really hard work. If you think about what it takes to launch a startup, first you have to convince these corporations to let us see the kind of problems they have. We have to convince them that we're smart enough to actually understand the problems and see where we can create companies that don't put them at a disadvantage, but they would still be interested in investing in. So that's been the journey over the last year. And it's been fun to see it play out. So I've kind of explained what the studio is. A studio is a place that not only funds, but actually also creates the companies. And that's because part of the challenge we're trying to solve is to seed the community, to seed the state with fundable companies that are high quality companies. So that's what the studio is for, and the fund. And I've kind of run through my slides before I started showing the slides. So that's actually helpful for everybody. So within that year, we're now at 3 companies launched in 2026. We hope we can do maybe 1 or 2 more this year. We'll see. Of those companies, part of our challenge is to really recruit founders as early as possible into these ideas as we develop them and launch them into companies. One of our founders comes from Alabama, which is great. If we can find great people here, we always want it. But we also use it as a way to draw capital and talent into the state. That's part of the mission of what we're doing here. And another founder that's just signed on with us is coming from a highly successful healthcare startup that he was part of building in Georgia and would be really joining us in this next initiative. And so the fund provides initial funding for the studio companies. Official fund kickoff was November 26. Like I said, that's really impressive that we've been able to do this that fast. Looking ahead to 26, deploy the capital into the companies, attract additional external capital into the companies. So by the way, that's part of the game plan here. It's not just that we fund these companies, but we're creating exciting enough ideas, especially around vertical AI in this world of AI doing work, to also attract external capital into the state. And then we want to complete additional 3 to 5 innovation cycles in 26. Hopefully, some of them become companies that we launch. And in 3 years, this is the hope. My team knows my hope is bigger than this, but they tell me don't kill us. But anyway, 10 high growth startups, attract additional 10 million. So this is beyond the $10 million fund. We want to attract an additional $10 million into those high growth startups over that time. And if you look down the line, we hope these companies generate billions in economic impact for years to come. And that's really the game we're playing here. If there are companies, we promise we will not take your intellectual property and give it to all your competitors. But every company has systemic problems in their ecosystem as large businesses, whether it's in financial services, insurance, logistics, real estate, healthcare, that are worth building really big companies around to go solve that problem. So if there are companies listening to this and you want really smart people to come partner with you, we would love to talk to you. And sometimes the problems we're solving is something you see from your customers. So one of the companies we're launching is with a very, very large regional bank. And the problem we ended up solving and launching a company with them today is not even a problem that they directly have. It's a problem a ton of their customers have. So we're very excited about that. So that's another thing to think about if you're in any of those situations. And I think with that, I may have jumped ahead, so I'll go back. That didn't exist, and I'll give it back to you. Thank you all so much. Any questions? Any questions? I went through that very fast. Any questions? Oh, a brief overview of the 3 companies. I think anybody who knows what's happening knows that the big inflection right now is artificial intelligence. So all these 3 companies actually are somewhere around there. The first one is in the consumer packaged goods space. And what is happening there is around treasury management, deduction management for consumer packaged goods, where a lot of CPG companies have no visibility into why they are getting paid what they are getting paid. So you think about it, you're selling to Walmart, a small shop, a big shop, Kroger's, all over the world. You're selling children's cookies, whatever it is you're selling. And you expect to get paid 3 million, but you got paid 1 million. And today is just a black box because the job of really figuring this out is contract-based. There's a lot of information you have to gather to really figure out, why did I get paid that? And sometimes you actually do need to get paid the 3 million and you can't sort it out because it's so labor intensive dealing with all these different places you sell to. Well, guess what? In the age of AI, we are actually able to build these agents that can understand everything that's happening and help you navigate that process. And that's our entry point. We hope that also extends into the payment and all that. The second is in the dental space. It's another similar thing around just inventory management in dental. And we've also seen interest in like dermatology and other types of healthcare companies that have a lot of inventory needs in the background. That's very hard for humans to wrap their heads around. And then the third is in the private equity space, lower middle market private equity, where we've built this AI platform that does analysis, research, sourcing, and all kinds of very, very cool, interesting things. So if you actually also need help with AI, just talk to us. We are deep in it, and we'll be able to help you move our companies forward on that front. Hopefully, I haven't taken too much time and I didn't talk too fast for you guys not to understand what I'm saying. But thank you all very, very much, and we appreciate you all. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay, great, Shagan. Thank you so much. It's always exciting to hear from you. I feel smarter just listening. Thank you, sir. All right, capital access, huge pillar.
Okay,
Ms.
next
Crutchfield?
up we have Senator Fetzer, who will do the introduction for us on this very important topic.
Mr. Vice Chairman, may I take a point of personal privilege real quick?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to introduce two more people that are in this room, and I should have. I just was thinking about my Coleman people when we were here, but you've got two people, ladies and gentlemen, that are on the cabinet of Governor Kay Ivey that are in this room, and we just need to say thank you for being here, because I know that Commissioner Blankenship is actually sinking a riverboat in the Gulf today, and he decided to be here at Innovate instead of being with all of his staff down at the beach. So I just wanted to say thank you for being here for conservation and all that you do throughout this whole state. So thank you, Chris. The second is our own Greg Reed. And I want to say thank you for the labor and workforce and the job that you do for traveling this state, handling everything of merging those two departments into one, and the fabulous job that you do. But I'm thankful that you're here and helping lead us not only today, but in the past, and a mentor to me as the past, my predecessor as the pro tem of the Alabama State Senate. So thank you for being here. I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that if you didn't. So I just wanted to, I think we do, but just wanted to give credit where credit's due. Mary Beth, don't be leaving anywhere. I'm going to call on you in a second. I think you're standing there for a reason, so thank you for staying there. Ladies and gentlemen, you understand that Capital Access Fund or funding for small businesses is one of the biggest gaps that we have in the state of Alabama. It doesn't matter if you're starting a business or if you're within the early stages or follow on capital as companies begin to grow and scale. The fund is $15 million evergreen vehicle that allows Innovate Alabama to make direct investments in high potential Alabama companies, while also partnering with venture funds that are willing to be invested here in Alabama. The goal is to help strong Alabama companies stay here in Alabama, grow here in Alabama, and attract outside capital. And again, all here in the state of Alabama. The fund launched this spring, and we are now beginning to see the early momentum across both direct investment activity and partner engagement. Today, I'm pleased to turn the floor over to Ms. Mary Beth Grant to share a brief update. And Mr. Chairman, before she starts, I just want to make sure that I believe we have a resolution at the end of this. I don't want to forget that, okay? Mary Beth, please take over.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Really excited to give an update about the Capital Access Fund. We were able to launch this just in April, so we're maybe 3 months in, and we've had a lot of great momentum and exciting conversations about the fund. The fund came kind of from the idea not only of the advisory council that we put together that Brittany chaired, but also it was one of the initial kind of commission report outlines to establish an Innovate Alabama seed fund. So we're really excited that the Capital Access Fund will not only make direct investments that will be pretty small check sizes between $100,000 to $250,000 for those early stage companies looking for capital. It'll also have that private one-to-one match that we love from SSBCI, but also deploying a fund-to-fund strategy to work with institutional capital groups throughout the nation to make sure that we're leaning on expertise or industry knowledge as well. So just a quick update. We also had Chris Udall join the team as fund manager. So we have Chris sitting right here. Chris lives in Huntsville. So we're excited not only to expand kind of our team capacity to North Alabama, but Chris has brought a lot of great experience and expertise in the early stage funding and has also worked with some accelerators throughout the state. So he's been a wealth of knowledge for our team, and we're excited to have him on board. So just a quick update. We really have just gotten started. So we have not made any initial deployments, but this will give just a quick snapshot of some of that momentum to date. We've had about 25 direct applications since launching. I've listed out the top headquartered cities. So we're seeing a lot come in from Huntsville and Birmingham, but also even Dothan, Florence, Mobile, all across the state. A lot of focus in the biotechnology and ag tech. And we're also working to make sure that we're getting out into different communities and announcing the fund as well. So we're looking to really ramp that up later this fall. And with that kind of 24 applications, we're hoping to make some of the first direct investments, hopefully in July and August, as we're starting to move some into legal. On the fund to fund strategy, we launched that in tandem with the fund launching back in April, and we closed that at the end of May. So we've had a really good turnout with applications, and Chris really left no stone unturned to give you kind of an idea of what the outreach looked like. Chris reached out to over 5,000 firms, had over 600 of them directly talk back and communicate with Innovate Alabama and want to learn more. We had over 200 requests and received the RFP, and then almost 40 full responses. So we're still working through the fund to funds component and hope to make those decisions very soon. So we were really just getting started in the first 3 months. So over the next quarter, we'll be making those first investments. We'll be continuing kind of the outreach to companies all throughout the state. And then we'll also look to award those fund to funds commitments and onboard new fund managers later this quarter as well. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, no questions. Ms. Crutchfield, I think we're going to be looking at tab 5 in our documentation in regards to some samples of the Capital Access Fund Authorization Resolution. This information has been presented to the board, and we're going to need to have a motion, a second, and a vote on this particular initiative.
And so that you guys are aware, we did try to keep this consistent with what we did on SSBCI. So it mirrors the approvals that you've already given for SSBCI.
Okay, do we have other questions? Board members have questions related to this? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion that we adopt the resolution on the Capital Access Initiative Program?
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And we have approval of that resolution related to the Capital Access Initiative Program. Thank you very much for that great update. So now we're moving to SBIR, STTR, that program. Ms. Crutchfield, back to you.
Okay, this is our oldest program. This is actually the first program that we stood up in Innovate Alabama. It is called SBIR for short. It's a supplemental grant funding program, and we'll turn it over to Mr. Harper for the introduction.
Thank you, Madam CEO and Vice Chair Reed. I want to take a second of personal privilege here as well, and I just want to say thank you to Pro Tem Gudger and the Coleman family for the warm reception and warm welcome. It's been nothing but hospitality since we got here, and coming up from the coast, it's a little bit cooler up here, about 5 degrees. So we'll take that. So it's a privilege, as Ms. Crutchfield mentioned, to be able to introduce one of our oldest programs within Innovate Alabama, and one that represents critical investment that the state makes into its own future. Alabama, if you're not familiar, is home to a number of small companies doing cutting-edge research and development in defense, aerospace, biotech, advanced manufacturing, and many more fields. Many of these companies compete nationally for SBIR, or Small Business Innovation Research, and Small Business Technology Transfer grants. You can see why we shorten the name, through agencies such as NASA, the Department of War, and the National Institutes of Health. The bar to win these is very high, and the competition is a national cohort. Several years ago, when Innovate Alabama was stood up, it created the supplemental grant program to stand alongside those companies and those winners at state level for state level funds. The premise is very simple. If a federal agency has already validated that an Alabama company is doing world-class work, Alabama should help them grow and stay in the state. What has followed has been simply remarkable. Across 8 cycles, the program has put more than $23 million of state investment to work. The companies it supported employ more than 2,400 Alabamians and have filed nearly 100 patents and have gone on to raise more than $128 million in follow-on funding. For those not familiar with follow-on, that's venture capital, contracts, new grants, and the like secured after receiving the supplemental award. So to walk us a little bit more in depth through this, I'd like to welcome Ms. Estes Hughes from EDPA to the podium to give us a little more background on the program and how it's doing.
Thanks, Abe, and thank you to the board for the time today. So this program frequently flies under the radar, but it really does deliver a powerful injection of capital into some of our most cutting edge early stage companies around the state. So this program is run by Innovate Alabama, administered by the EDPA team, and it provides state funds to these Alabama companies that have already won a highly competitive SBIR or SETR award. It's a signal from the federal government that you're doing the right work, and then we meet that with a signal that Alabama is with you. So across 8 award cycles from 2022 through 2026, this is a little bit what that looks like. So we've awarded, as Abe mentioned, $23.3 million in supplemental grants to 145 companies across the state, from Birmingham to Huntsville to Auburn to Tuscaloosa to Mobile, and frequently places in between. Those companies employ more than 2,400 Alabamians, and from the progress reports they submit, we can see that employee base continuing to grow. They've filed 97 patents, intellectual property claims, and they've gone on to raise, as Abe mentioned again, $128 million in follow-on funding across various kind of mediums, VC capital, contracts, grants, partnerships after receiving their award. These aren't hypothetical projections. These are numbers that companies reported themselves. And one thing I want to note, when we go into this room and select which companies are receiving these supplemental grants, these are companies that have commercial viability beyond the agency that they are directly serving. So we're excited to see the potential growth that these companies continue to have. So to give you a few examples, one of our earliest cohort companies, Streamline Automation out of Huntsville, used their funding as part of a bridge that helped them spin out a new company called Coherent, an edge quantum computing firm. That spin out raised a $4.7 million seed round from firms like Khosla Ventures and Draper Associates. Another, Cosmic Shielding Corporation, secured a $2.5 million defense appropriations add-on supported by AFRL and Senator Katie Britt. These are Alabama companies doing world-class work on a really broad national and broader scale. What I want you to take away is that this company works because it's meeting companies at an already validated level of excellence. And they've already cleared this federal bar. And this just gives them a little bit of extra runway to make it to their next milestone, gain credibility with investors, hire another person, and get closer to building Alabama's next big company. It's patient, targeted capital, and the results are speaking for themselves. So I wanted to introduce you to one of these awardees, who's a really great example of this kind of innovation happening here in Alabama. So David Malott is the founder of Space Factory based in Tanner, Alabama. And they specialize in robotic manufacturing and material processing systems for space infrastructure. And I'm probably going to get some of this wrong, so I'm going to let him speak. But their work has dual use applications across defense and remote industry, and they're doing it with a NASA Phase 2 SBIR and some supplemental grant funding. So the stage is yours.
Thank you, Estes. Actually, you got it exactly correct. Yes. Which doesn't leave me much to say. Well, I do want to say thank you to the board, to the state of Alabama. As you might discern from my accent, I'm not from Alabama. I moved Space Factory here from the New York City area 2 years ago. And it's really one of the best decisions I could have made as the founder of Space Factory. New Yorkers are a little bit cynical, as a lot. I think when we talk about building on the moon, trying to find ways to build more sustainably on Earth, it's approached with skepticism. I think in Alabama, it's really encouraged. And of course, the money is great, but it's also that just support, that community, which means so much to us and really allows us to grow as a company. So Space Factory now has 2 Phase 2 SBIRs, one with NASA and one with the DOW. This particular supplemental grant, which we received, is for the NASA award. And it's a difficult thing. SBIRs inherently are supposed to lead from R&D to commercialization. What we want to do is to build roads on the moon, which is a great mission, but it's not something that we can commercialize tomorrow. So this grant is extremely important to us because we're going to be using it to find a terrestrial adaptation of the technology that we're developing for NASA. So it might take a very different form, but the fundamental principles are the same. It's about robotics and automation. It's about working out in the field in these frontier environments. And it's about what NASA calls in situ resource utilization, ISRU, which is kind of a fancy way of saying living off of the land. So whereas on the moon, we would build roads with lunar soil, the proposal in Alabama is to, if you look on the back wall, is to build roads with agricultural waste products. So the parts of the corn that you don't eat, okay, the shells of the peanuts, which are unused. So biomass, combined with crusher fines from Alabama quarries. Basically finding the waste in Alabama industry and agriculture and turning it into a new building material. It could be, and we've, one of the organizations that wrote a letter of support for us for this research effort was Hudson Alpha. So we might be partnering with them to develop this material. That's one aspect of it. The second aspect would be testing it with NCAT, which is the National Concrete and Asphalt Testing, I think. So they will actually determine whether or not this material is suitable for road applications. And then the final aspect will be developing the architecture for deployment. If we have a material which works, is proven out to be viable for roadways, how do we deploy it in a means which is accessible? So we're very much looking at something that synthesizes space tech with agricultural technology. So it could be something in a towable format, towed by a tractor, by a farmer. So looking to take the actual deployment and putting it in the hands, ultimately, of the end user. So there's still a lot of work to do. Where we want to end up with the end of the supplemental grant is to clearly identify the next opportunity, the follow-on funding that you described. So locking in a pilot customer from Alabama, so talking to municipalities, to counties to see if we can't take it to that next step towards full-scale implementation. So still just the very beginning, but this supplemental grant was definitely the key to start taking that NASA tech and putting it to good use at home. Thank you.
All right, great information. I'm looking forward to driving on the peanuts. It's exciting. Okay, back to you, Ms. Crutchfield. I think the network designation's our next opportunity.
Oh, tax credits.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Correct. Tax credits. All right, back to you and Leader Daniels.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Mr. Leader?
I think he's talking, but I can't hear him.
Mr. Leader, we can't hear you.
Well, I'll get on another device. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I'm pleased to present the first round of the 2026 Innovate Alabama tax credit programs for the board consideration. The board's interest and participation have continued to grow, expanding the program's impact across communities throughout Alabama. The programs serve as an important tool for supporting innovation, entrepreneurship, and economic development efforts statewide. To date, more than $74 million in tax credits have been awarded to 27 EDOs, helping advance a diverse pipeline of projects and programs. For this funding round, we are requesting board approval for tax credits totaling $9,782,200. We're pleased to welcome the new EDO organization into the program, along with 11 project recommendations for approval. The newly designated EDOs are Decatur Morgan County Entrepreneurship Center, Inc., International Fertilizer Development Center. We believe that these new partners will expand access to innovation resources, strengthen regional collaboration, and support continued entrepreneurial growth throughout Alabama. With that being said, I'll now turn it over to Kelly McKinney to present the applications.
Thank you, Representative Daniels. I'm pleased to provide an update on the continued growth and impact of the tax credit program. This application cycle generated strong interest from organizations all across the state, reflecting the growing demand for the program that supports entrepreneurship, innovation, and economic development. This round, we received 13 project applications totaling just over $13.5 million. And after a very thorough review process, we are requesting board approval for 11 projects totaling just over $9.7 million. These projects align with the goals of the program and have strong potential to further strengthen Alabama's innovation ecosystem. This year, we made a small adjustment to the EDO designation process to improve efficiency for both the applicants and our internal review team. Going forward, the EDO designation applications will be accepted during designated rounds that will take place prior to each project application rounds. Existing EDOs will not need to reapply during the EDO designation window. This process is going to be only for the new EDOs. Additionally, existing EDOs will receive an updated EDO letter along with their draft funding agreement, pending that the organization is still in good standing and meets all of the eligibility requirements. To date, the tax credit program has awarded more than $74 million to 27 EDOs supporting 58 projects across the state. As many of you know, the program is currently scheduled to sunset on July 30th, 2028. As we begin preparing for the renewal effort, I've been spending a significant amount of time reviewing project data and reporting to better understand the overall impact of these investments, evaluating the program's performance, and identifying opportunities to strengthen the program moving forward. I look forward to sharing some of these ideas and recommendations with the board in the coming months. Our goal is to ensure we continue being responsible stewards of the taxpayer dollars while maximizing the impact of the program across the state. Pending approval of today's recommendations, of our $25 million allocation, we anticipate having approximately $15.2 million left for round two. However, as you can see here from this graph, we're already tracking roughly $28 million in anticipated requests from all the EDOs that have indicated that they plan to apply this next round. And that's before accounting for any additional projects that I'm unaware of at this time. I do share this because it does highlight the continued demand for the program, and the volume and quality of applications demonstrate that organizations across Alabama see real value in these tax credits and that the opportunities they create for innovation and economic growth. I will say this has been an extremely competitive round. We've received many strong applications, which made for some very difficult funding decisions. Throughout the review process, I do want to note that we considered several factors, including prior reporting data, the types and numbers of companies being supported, and the overall project impact of each project's alignment with the goals of our program. While many organizations are doing exceptional work, we ultimately had to make some really tough decisions within the limits of the program's $25 million. Unlike last year, we did not apply a uniform reduction across all awards. Thanks to the reporting data that we have received, we were able to make funding decisions based off of outcomes, performance, and projected impact. With that being said, Vice Chairman Reed, how would you like for us to approve these projects? Would you like for me to give descriptions, or to save time, we could do it like we did last time, where we just said EDPA and the amounts and then approved it that way?
Madam CEO, did we go through each of these for an approval on each one of them the last time, or do we just do one resolution?
We've done it both ways. It's however you'd like to do it. I think it seemed like the preference was the last time for her to go through all of them and then approve the block.
Right.
The only thing to remember is that, you know, each board member we have to ask if anybody has a conflict of interest.
Okay. Well, then I think what would be the best thing to do is allow you, Ms. McKinney, to just start with, we have 11 to go through.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you to go through those individually, and then we will not vote on them individually. We'll vote on them as a group, but we'll pause at the end of each of your descriptions. If there's any board member that needs to make note of any conflict of interest, then we'll ask them to do that at that time so it can be appropriately noted, and then we'll move on.
That works. All right. First up, we have the Economic Development Partnership of Alabama. This organization is CEDO, located in Birmingham, Alabama, and they are requesting tax credits in the amount of $410,600 in partnership with Endeavor.
Okay. Any conflicts? See none. Number 2.
Awesome. The next one is also with EDPA, and they are a CEDO located in Birmingham, requesting $2,250,000 in partnership with the TechStars for the Energy Tech Accelerator.
Okay. Any conflicts? See none. All right. Number 3.
Next up, we have EDPA again in support of Miles College and the 2150 Center. They are requesting $1.2 million.
All right. Any conflicts? See none. We'll move on. Number 4, Southern Research.
All right. They are a CEDO located in Birmingham, Alabama, and they're requesting tax credits in the amount of $1,120,000 for their Station 41 program.
All right. Southern Research. Any conflicts? All right. Innovation Depot next.
They are a LEDO located in Birmingham, Alabama, requesting tax credits in the amount of $2,445,000. And they're an innovative company focused on early stage validation through traction and growth.
Okay. Any conflicts with Innovate? Innovation Depot. All right. Next, Baldwin.
Baldwin County is a LEDO located in Fairhope, Alabama, requesting tax credits in the amount of $900,000 under the Technology Accelerator Program in support of Hatch Fairhope.
All right. Any conflicts with Baldwin Community? See none. We'll move on to the City of Auburn.
Can you note the recommended amount, please, for these, for the record?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Do you want me to start right now, or do you want me to just at
Just
the end? I
go
was going to
back
go through
and
them all.
Go
So-
back and go over the ones and then do it going
Okay,
forward.
got
Thank
it.
you.
We are recommended approval for Endeavor, EDPA Endeavor for $330,000. We are recommending EDPA TechStars in the amount of $2 million. EDPA Miles College 2150 Center, we are recommending $1 million. Southern Research, we are recommending $950,000. Innovation Depot, we are recommending $1,900,000. And Baldwin County, or Baldwin Community and Economic Development, we are recommending approval of $800,000.
Okay. So in our documentation, we see what they asked for, and then now we know exactly what is going to be offered for a request for approval for them.
Yes, correct.
Correct. All right. Let's move on to City of Auburn.
Okay. They are a new entrant, LEDO, located in Auburn, Alabama, and they are requesting tax credits in the amount of $2 million to develop a new startup incubator facility in Auburn. We are recommending approval for $700,000 for the city of Auburn.
Okay, any conflicts with City of Auburn? Seeing none. All right, next.
Next up, we have EDPA in partnership or with the foundation. This is in support of their Alabama Launchpad program, and they are requesting tax credits in the amount of $1,412,200. We are recommending approval for $1,117,200.
Okay, any conflicts? The Alabama Launchpad. All right, next, Apollo.
Apollo, they are Aceto, located in Huntsville, Alabama. They are requesting tax credits in the amount of $220,000, and this is to run their G-Beta accelerator. And we are recommending approval for $165,000.
Okay. Any conflicts with Apollo Foundation? Seeing none. Next, Southeast Alabama Coalition for Economic Development.
They are a Lido located in Dothan, Alabama, and they're requesting $400,000 under the Technology Accelerator Program. And we are recommending approval of $220,000.
All right, any conflicts there with our friends, South Alabama? Seeing none. All right, the last one, this is number 11, Opportunity Alabama, Inc.
All right, they are a CETO located in Birmingham, Alabama, and they're requesting tax credits in the amount of $805,000 and $675,000. And they're in partnership with the Capital Collective, and they're running their Beyond the Middle Capital Intensive. We are recommending $600,000 for approval for the Capital Collective.
Okay, any conflict with the Capital Collective? All right. Seeing no conflicts or hearing no conflicts with any of those, you can again look in tab 5 at the second page of tab 5, which shows the tax credit application resolution option there that is being proposed. It was included in our board information. So I would request a motion for the approval. All right, we have motion and a second. Any other discussions? Questions? All right, hearing none, all in favor of the resolution and the motion before, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We have approval.
Wonderful. Thank
Yes,
y'all so
ma'am.
much. Now I know we are kind of short on time, but I want to do an introduction for Mary Ann Whitehead with Fig Brew to the podium. She participated in the Apollo Foundation Accelerator that was helped funded through the tax credit program.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Marianne. I am co-founder of Fig Brew. And yes, I have a Southern accent. Hopefully everybody can understand me. Fig Brew. The idea started in 2020. We read an article about how figs were used in World War II to stretch the coffee rations. And we thought, why not? So we started roasting and grinding figs, and it looks like coffee, brews like coffee. And my co-founder, Andy, absolutely loves coffee, but like many of us, it does not love him back. And mixing in figs with your coffee makes coffee so smooth. It's really, really nice to drink. And we started Fig Brew. We shipped our first product in January of 2021. We went to a coffee festival. It was a little nerve-wracking because coffee festival, who wants to drink a coffee alternative? We ended up winning. We won 2 years in a row. Third year, they didn't put us on the ballot, so who knows? But we've gone on to win several awards, and we actually were approached, and this is the first time in an industry that a coffee company approached a coffee alternative to blend with them. So we partnered with North Shore Coffee, amazing company. So if you have not tried Fig Brew's North Shore blend, please try it. We entered the G-Beta program. Oh, and we do have a fig farm. We started a fig farm to see if we can do farm to roast all in Alabama. So we're very excited about that. We entered the G-Beta program, and we were running a business we hadn't the idea, we had a really great product, but we needed to fine tune. So the G-Beta program gave us clarity. It gave us the confidence to think bigger. We're not just in Alabama, we're nationwide, we've shipped nationally, and the community of startup founders. It's not all glitz and glamour. There's a lot of, I have unloaded a truck in Heels and a dress, presented to a grocery store, and then offloaded a truck. But the community of founders that we have met and we've stayed connected with has been invaluable. So we also understood through our G-Beta program that for a beverage company, there was not a lot of help because it is a technology city. And we launched Map Kitchens. We are an incubator kitchen and we help startups. So we tell them all the horror stories to avoid and all the mistakes we made. And it's lovely to see those people grow. So through G-Beta, we've paid back to the community. We still continue to pay back. And every day we give back a little bit more. The one other thing that G-Beta program has taught me is that I like to help people, hence the incubator kitchen. But through G-Beta, I met Chase Morrow, who has Deploy, and we work with Alabama Farm Credit. And Deploy is a recruitment company as a service model. And because I like to help people, I said to Chase, hey, I want to come join the team. So Fig Brew is still going strong, and I will be ever a co-founder of Fig Brew. And Andy, my co-founder, my fabulous co-founder, will be handling Fig Brew's day-to-day running, and you'll see me hopefully as a new Deploy person. But looking forward to everybody. And please, if you see a local company, please like them, follow them on social media, buy from them, support them, because there are dreams, there are nights, sleepless nights of saying, oh, will this work or will this not work? But just support them. And if you haven't tried Fig Brew, please do, whether you drink coffee or not. As much as Andy loves coffee, I hate coffee, can't stand it. But throw in a little bit of fig and I'll drink it all day long. So I'm hoping more coffee shops will adopt the Fig Brew. But thank you very much for this opportunity. Really grateful to Innovate Alabama for this G-Beta opportunity that's helped so many companies. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Whitehead. I'm a little disappointed we don't have any Fig Brew here this afternoon. I'm just joking with you. Congratulations. Thank you for presenting to us. All right, now network designations.
Yes, it is
Madam
time.
CEO, back to you.
Time for networks, and we're going to ask if you would, Rich, give us the intro.
So, Mr. Vice Chairman, another important initiative at Innovate Alabama is the Network Program, which strengthens Alabama's innovation ecosystem by investing in municipalities, colleges, and nonprofits that build regional support systems for entrepreneurs across our state. This year, the Network Program has completed 2 funding rounds. The first included both network designation and project grant awards, while the second introduced a new designation focused on rural communities across the state of Alabama. Together, these rounds continue to expand innovation capacity and strengthen economic opportunity throughout Alabama. Today, we'll receive an update on the results of round 4, including both designation and project grant awards, as well as an overview of the recently completed rural designation round. I'd now like to turn the floor over to Ms. Carrie Green for the network program update.
Thank you. So I'm going to get us back up to speed on time here. So we're going to run through this as fast as we can. So results from the round 4 designation and project round, we had 126 applications across designation and projects with 72 approved. This program, each round has been super competitive, and we're super excited to see these investments continue to be catalytic for the state across access to resources, talent development, as well as outdoor recreation. And just to give a few examples of the 22, we've had 22 designations that we've now added into the network. And I will give just a few examples of some of the work that some of these organizations are doing. So Birmingham AI is expanding access to artificial intelligence expertise and technical assistance to help businesses adopt emerging technologies. KXR is supporting talent development in Alabama's Black Belt by expanding immersive learning experience that expose students to early STEM exposure, as well as the Land Trust of North Alabama, enhancing trail connectivity in North Alabama, creating a hub for outdoor recreation resources. For our project grants, we have a few examples here with Hudson Alpha Institute for Biotechnology partnering with the City of Dothan's Wiregrass Innovation Center to establish an ag tech innovation hub to accelerate agricultural research and commercialization. We have the U.S. Space and Rocket Center Education Foundation expanding STEM and workforce development through a new drone flight cage, providing students with hands-on training in drone technology, engineering, and aviation. For outdoor recreation, we have the Singing River Trail. They have developed the SRT Explorer, a technology-enabled wayfinding platform that integrates interactive mapping, augmented reality to help retain and attract talent within our state. A new funding cycle that we've just unleashed this year is our rural designation round. So we have defined that rural as communities that sit within a municipality, either a city or a county with 50,000 residents or less, trying to add more rural communities to our network. And so we welcomed in 12 new organizations, and you'll hear shortly in a second from one of the newest beneficiaries from there. With the addition of these new designees, we are now up to 204 members of the network program. And I just want to provide just a quick update on projects. We have the round 5 project grant open currently, opened up on June 15th. And so it'll close on July the 9th. So an extended deadline from the 3rd, which was the previous date. And so with that, I'm going to let Brenda Tuck with the Selma Center of Commerce come up and tell more about her community.
Thank you so much. We want to, on behalf of the Selma and Dallas County Center for Commerce, want to thank you for having us here today, to the board, to the staff, specifically to Cynthia Crutchfield for the focus that you have created on rural, for visiting Selma and Dallas County recently with the whole team and really seeing the heart of the Black Belt there, and talking with us about all of our aspirations that we have together. Throughout my entire career, as you know, we've 26 years in community and economic development, I've served rural. So what you're doing is invaluable to us, and we appreciate it. Over the last 6 years, many of you knew me as the state's first rural development manager. However, the 16 years prior to that, I served the Black Belt. My start was in Selma and Dallas County. My oldest son, my grandchildren still live there. A vested interest there, obviously. January 1st, I came back to serve Selma and Dallas County again. In the last 6 months, we have worked to forge new partnerships and collaborations with both community and economic development organizations. Innovate Alabama is at the helm of that, and we appreciate it. We're working to create an entrepreneurial exchange called E-Squared. It will create small business space and place and align and streamline resources for them. We're increasing our talent retention and recruitment efforts. We're doing that in cooperation with some of the others that you saw on the list. We're tearing down silos. We're doing things differently than we've ever done them before. We're working with Quant Hub, with Fuel Alabama. We're laying the foundation for a young professionals group. When we talk about talent retention and recruitment, other young people need to know about their counterparts that are also staying in their communities and who they are and what they're doing and what they are finding to change that perception that we have of rural Alabama, so that the reality of the great place to live, work, and play is the new paradigm. We're elevating our efforts with our partner of Wallace Selma, and one of the things that we're doing there, we'll be creating actually an air show for the first time in over 50 years at Craig Air Base, which has a 10,000-foot runway. It's 8,002 foot with 1,000-foot overrun on each end. And so we have the place and space to do something we have not been using. As part of that air show, we will be creating and bringing in STEM activities for both our youth and our adults so that they can understand. Obviously, the air show is the draw, and that's going to create opportunities for us to see how we can do things differently and provide opportunities for those throughout the 8 counties plus others that Wallace Selma serves. They are a partner in this, as well as Craig Field, many other agencies and organizations. So we're just trying to do things new and different. We are, again, collaborating and doing things in a way that will provide different results from what we've achieved in the past. We've been making progress for many years in the time that I've spent there, but it's been don't want to say in silos, but we have seen silos in the past where we have organizations in different areas that did not collaborate together. And today I'm happy to report that in Selma and Dallas County, everyone is collaborating together. We have a lot of new leadership. We have a lot of new opportunity to work together, and we are working hard to make sure that that happens. We're working toward an entrepreneurial and small business center, something that's near and dear to my heart. I'm happy to hear of the other things that are going on in that realm, even though what we're doing is in the talent development. Entrepreneurship obviously needs that as well, and we are working hard to make sure that we provide those opportunities. I have managed or created small business incubators in the rural communities throughout my career, and we will be doing some additional work there in collaboration with the City of Selma. So as you can hear and tell, we are working not just the Center for Commerce, but the Center for Commerce with all of our partners and all of us working together. Any questions?
Ms. Tubb, thank you so much. And I appreciate your work for many, many years on topics related to rural Alabama and your work with the Department of Commerce. Thank you.
Any questions?
Questions for Ms. Green?
Thank you.
All right, sounds great. Back to you, Madam CEO.
Okay, moving right along. Next, we'll have our new board member introduce the commercialization pilot program.
Mr. Vice Chair, I have the pleasure of introducing an update on our commercialization program known as Pilot AL. This is partnership between Innovate Alabama and EDPA, and it's helping to connect Alabama's established industries with innovative technology small business founders who are developing solutions to real business problems. By supporting these connections through short-term corporate pilot projects, we're helping startups validate their technologies, accelerate commercialization, and grow faster through direct engagement with these industry partners. Since launching late last year, Pilot AL has created new opportunities for collaboration across the state. And to share an update on the program's progress and impact, I'd like to welcome Jackson Pruitt from EDPA.
Thank you, Danny. Appreciate the introduction, and thank you all for the chance to share a brief update on Pilot AL. This is all about really what's really most important to most of these small business owners and founders, and that's how do they start making money? That is ultimately what they care the most about, honestly. And I'm really excited to share the support that we have for this program. So what is it? Pilot AL is all about how do we accelerate growth for our innovators in the state of Alabama by leveraging the existing industry that we have here in Alabama. So Pilot AL connects tech small businesses with Alabama industry, direct access to our enterprise customers here in the state. And it really solves two main problems at once. Number one, how do we get startups and small businesses access to these existing industries that we have here in Alabama? But then also for the industry, how do we allow them to start to innovate themselves and take low risk chances on new technology and stay competitive in a very competitive environment in manufacturing and industrial settings? So what are these? These are corporate pilots. These are short-term, milestone-based. So the funding for this program follows real milestones between corporates and the enterprises. And it's really designed as a next step for our startup small businesses after they've completed one of our accelerator programs and they're ready to go to market. So how it works, we are really have 4 stages of this thing. So we start with our corporates. These are existing industry in Alabama. We talk to them about their pain points. What are their problems? What issues are they facing? We then work to go find startup solutions. So these can be small businesses here in the state of Alabama that have a solution to that problem that the corporate's facing. And then we match them up. We do some vetting through some advisory committees that we've set up. And then we match them to really execute these short-term pilots that are 6 months. It's all about greasing the tracks so that those same startups and small businesses can then get reoccurring revenue by leveraging the existing industry here in the state of Alabama. One big thing I want to note here, the difference between what we're doing and what Shagan and the team at Harmony Venture Labs are doing. Shagan's working on coming up with completely new companies. This program is designed to go find the solutions that already exist out there. We just have to match them up with our existing corporates. So different approach, but we're both working in tandem as we do outreach to existing Alabama enterprises and industry to make sure that we find the solution that works the best for our corporate community. So I just wanted to flag that really quickly. Speaking of corporate community, these are the markets that we're really spending time on. Why these three? These are where Alabama has existing industry density. Forestry and wood products we know about, mobility, which includes automotive and aerospace, and then metals and advanced materials. So these is really where we're spending the most time to find corporates. And I'm really excited to share that we've got 7 corporates from Alabama that have fully signed on to host pilots in their manufacturing settings. And so the cool thing about this is that these are spread out all across Alabama. These are not just in Jefferson County. We're in Marengo County, Colbert County, Hill County. And what I want to share here is that I think this program is one of the best ways we can bring innovation to our rural communities because we're leveraging the existing industries that are already there and we're bringing them startups, technology, small businesses to these rural communities where the corporates can really interact with our startup team. So we're really excited about that. We have reached 29 startups about this program, sharing them that Alabama is ready to support their commercialization journey. And I can't tell you folks, when we go talk to startups, how excited they are to hear that Alabama is ready to support their go-to-market strategy. Not every state is doing that. And I think that's really a way that we can separate ourselves in this country as how we're supporting innovators and small businesses. We're also setting up advisory committees that include our friends at the Department of Commerce. Innovate Alabama is a part of that, our utility partners. So really bringing a lot of subject matter experts of how do we bring technology and innovation to the manufacturing setting. So I'm excited to share a little bit about our pipeline. We've got our first pilot underway up in Colbert County with an automotive supplier called Project XYZ. The startup is called Maverick IQ. Really excited about what they're going to be doing over the next 6 months at that facility. We have 2 more that are currently very close to being announced. Our commitment in the first phase of this program was to launch 3 by the end of July. And we're on track to do that both at a metals manufacturer in South Alabama and a wood products company over in West Alabama. So I'm excited to come back at your August board meeting, hopefully, and share the final update on that first phase. But then also talk about what the second phase of this could look like to, again, share the commercialization opportunities with our startups, but also just as importantly, how do we bring innovation to our existing manufacturers and industrial partners across the state? So thank you for the chance to share an update and look forward to answering any questions you might have.
Questions from Mr. Pruitt? Good job, Jackson.
All right.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
information. Danny, thank you. Throw you right deep into the pool, man. So, all right. Ms. Crutchfield, back to you on talent development.
It's the Innovate way, no soft start.
That's right.
Let's get right
Right
in.
at it.
Okay, next up, we will transition over to the second pillar in talent development, and we're going to ask Senator Singleton to please give us the introduction.
Excuse me. Good afternoon. Talent development remains one of Innovate Alabama's core priorities as we continue to build the pipeline of innovators, entrepreneurs, and skilled talent that our state needs to compete and grow. Through strategic partnership with K-12, colleges, universities, industry leaders, and community organizations, we're investing in initiatives that help attract, develop, and retain talent across Alabama. Today's update will provide a high-level overview of our recent progress and highlight how these efforts continue to strengthen our innovation ecosystem and create opportunities for Alabamians across the state. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Shannon Allen to present the update.
Thank you so much, Senator Singleton. As you all know, I typically like to look at the breadth of our whole portfolio of talent programs, whether they were funded through the network or our pilot funding. And I like to pick a handful to really give you an in-depth update on that. In the interest of getting us kind of back on track with the agenda, what I do want to say is overall, I did the math just on the 6 programs that I plan to update you all on today. Just since the fall, we've engaged about 1,500 students, whether at the K-12 level or at the college level. And that is through work-based learning. That is through entrepreneurial efforts. You know, we've invested a little over $70,000 just in this spring semester into student entrepreneurs, or whether that is through connecting them to lifestyle and recreation and quality of life efforts here across the state. And so I think one of the big important things and the questions that we always get are really around outcomes and how are these programs impacting our ability to retain and attract talent to the state. And so I do want to let you know in the coming months, you're going to be hearing about a data collection campaign that we'll be doing with present and past participants of all the programs that we've supported to understand their decision making around if they're staying in the state and how their participation in those programs are impacting those decisions. So as we look ahead, you heard Carrie mention that we're in the middle of a project grant round right now. And so the areas that we really want to double down on and have even specified through this project grant round for the network are going to be work-based learning initiatives. And so whether that is internships, fellowships, apprenticeships, paid learning experiences for students, as well as quality of life. So connecting young talent, continuing to connect them to all of the quality of life aspects across the state. And then with entrepreneurial development. Over the past couple of years, we've really had a focus on helping students as they were at the ideation stage of their companies. And now that we've really been investing in that, what we would love to do is move to helping these students move beyond ideation and really move into validation, prototyping, customer acquisition. And so we kind of got to bring that to life at SLOS Tech. So we ran a student innovation competition with the specification that the students who competed in this had to be students who were beyond ideation. They've already had some validation. They've already had some traction. And so I'm excited today to introduce you to 2 of the winners from that competition. And they're going to come up and they are going to give a 75-second. I told them they had 90 seconds, but now they've got 75 seconds to tell you about the work that they're doing, because when you hear from these students, it just emphasizes how bright the future is. So I'm going to introduce you to Help Hand with Ty Nelson and Motion Plus with Sandra Onishi.
Hi there. My name is Ty Nelson, and along with my co-founder, Troop Wallace, we are rising seniors at Stanford University, and we have launched and developed an app called Help Hand. Help Hand was built to develop and bridge the gap between homeowners and professionals who struggle to get last-second, reliable, trusted help to college students who can't fit a full or even part-time job into their busy schedule. And that's exactly what we've done, and we are super excited to continue to make huge steps in that. And one of the biggest things we've learned thus far is that there is a huge untapped realtor market for realtors who need help in between them getting access to the property and then being ready to sell. They have all these different tasks that need to be done, and Troop and I have been working hard to get into that, and we've having some exciting work that we've been able to do with that. So a little bit into what Help Hand is an all-in-one app where posters can post a job, browse categories for the different jobs they need done, and then simply a college student hops on the job from there. They get in-app messaging platform, and it's an all-in-one app where the goal is that within 5 minutes of downloading the app, you can have the job completed from a student to get the job done. So with that, hopefully that was 90 seconds, but sorry. Thank you for your time.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sandra Onishi. I'm 19 years old, and I recently got my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and rounding off my master's in business administration and mechanical engineering. And I just wanted to make sure that I said thank you to all of you. I've been involved with Innovate Alabama in a lot of different ways. Freshman year through the NASA patent competition, last year through the Innovate Alabama Entrepreneurship Hackathon, where we won first place, and here again at the SLOS Tech conference, winning first place for our company Motion Plus, which I am about to explain. Okay. Oh, go back. Okay. A quote that fully encapsulates what we believe at Motion Plus is that disabled people aren't just disabled, we disable them. And so, despite a $22 billion assistive technology market, there's still a lot of products that either are not made with meaningful input from the individuals who use them, or are not affordable or accessible to the population that rely on them the most. And so at Motion Plus, we prioritize using our engineering skills to create products that are 10 to 20 times cheaper than market options that basically serve individuals who live with disabilities, use wheelchairs, and prosthetics. And so through our company, we have been able to partner with the University of Alabama Adaptive Athletics Association, International Paralympic athletes, as well as national champions, to make sure that we have real people working with us to create the products that they're actually going to use. So far, we've raised over $27,000 in funding from different competitions across the state, and we filed patents across our first 4 products in our product lines. And so we're super excited to have the opportunity to connect with you all and see how you can help us, continue to advance the entrepreneurial landscape in Alabama and really just change the world with purpose-fueled innovation. Thank you. Hopefully that was.
Would either of you like to be on the board of Innovate Alabama?
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if you caught that she's a 19-year-old mechanical engineer working on her master's degree. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Yeah, we caught that, Ms.
Yes,
Allen.
yes. So, like I said, the future is very bright, and I appreciate your time today, and I will cede my time. That concludes our updates.
I'm still trying to find my way.
Mr.
Great update,
Mr.
Shannon.
Chairman.
Thank you so much.
Mr.
President.
I know we're over time, point of personal privilege. But I'd like for all 3 of y'all just to stand up. And I think it's Tripp. Was that your other name, sir? True? Yeah, but all 3 stand up. We just want to give you a round of applause. The youth movement is what it's all about and why we're even here. We're just thankful that y'all are doing what you're doing and brought this to all of our attention. We want to help in any way to make sure that you are successful. I'm pretty sure you're going to be successful without our help, but we will make sure that we'll do everything we can. But we're very proud of all of you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. President. All right, Ms. Crutchfield, back to you. And our friend Abe Harper is going to help you. So, and also Commissioner Blankenship, we've been waiting to hear from him.
Absolutely. It is not an Innovate Alabama board meeting unless we hear about outdoor recreation. And Mr. Chairman, in the spirit of outdoor recreation, we're within 1 minute of the agenda time. So I think everybody can now take a deep breath. Our team has caught us back up. And I'd like to welcome to the podium Commissioner Chris Blankenship, no stranger to this room, and a fellow coastie, who is going to update us on some of the initiatives and our executive director position, as well as the updates with regard to outdoor recreation. Commissioner.
Thank you, Abe. I appreciate that. And Mr. Pro Tem, thank you for mentioning the sinking of the Argosy. It is a 408-foot long, 5-deck old casino boat that we are sinking off the coast of Alabama, the largest reef that we've built. And instead of being down there hanging out and watching that happen, I'm here with you guys because that's how important this is to me. I appreciate the work of Innovate and appreciate the opportunity to share with you just a little bit about what's going on with us. One thing I would want to mention as we get started is I was joined by Chris in Chattanooga earlier this year to receive an award from the Tennessee River Line as the Partner of the Year along the 652 miles that the Tennessee River Line is working along the Tennessee River. And I appreciated the opportunity for the recognition of the work that has been done in Alabama on the outdoor rec side from the Tennessee River Line. As mentioned, with TC departure, there's an opening for the outdoor recreation position at Innovate. Tiffany Dunlap has accepted that role, and she'll start next week. I'm looking forward to y'all meeting her, and I've enjoyed the conversation with her very much. And I think she's excited about the job. I believe even though she's not on the payroll, she was at Sloss Tech last week talking to everybody and figuring it all out. So I feel like that's a pretty good indication of her passion and the work that she's going to do here. And I look forward to working with her. And Mike Norman with REI has resigned from the Outdoor Rec Council. He's got too much. REI's got too much going on. I think they've consolidated some stores under his management, and so he's asked to be relieved of that responsibility. And so we're working hopefully to fill that with someone from the trail sector that will be a good addition to the Outdoor Rec Council, and hope to have that done very soon. You heard about the grants that are open now through July the 9th for outdoor recreation. We've had quite a bit of outdoor recreation success in the state over the last several months since the meeting here. We've cut a ribbon at Lake Lurleen State Park, where we totally renovated that facility. We opened a $25 million campground at Gulf State Park. We're opening a new hotel at Chehaw State Park in September. The construction will be finished in August, and we'll have it open to the public hopefully by September. We've cut boat ramps, ribbons at boat ramps that have been funded through our partnership with Innovate at Kalijah down in Elmore County, Dauphin Island, in the Tuscaloosa area, at Moundville, and several on Lake Gunnersville, and then down in Mobile. So a lot of work happening all around to help increase our outdoor recreational assets around the state. Very, very proud of that. I do have a quick report from Big Communications on the Seek Alabama and what's happening on the Seek front. Our 2026 objective is to further strengthen awareness, relevance, and engagement for the Seek Alabama brand through a strategic mix of content, partnerships, and targeted digital media. Looking ahead, we're actively planning for the Inc. 500 conference in Dallas in October, where Seek will have a significant presence, including a dedicated activation space, panel participation, and custom content features. Additionally, we'll be involved in Propel in Huntsville later the same month to further expand that regional engagement. All campaign efforts are designed to create a seamless journey from initial brand exposure to direct engagement with Innovate Alabama, ultimately driving qualified traffic to the website, increasing form completions, and initiating meaningful conversations with prospective partners and stakeholders. And I think there are 2 commercials that have been produced that are being used in different channels, and hopefully we didn't really have time to show those commercials today, but I think maybe we can share that with the board. They're very, very impressive and really show Alabama in a very positive light and how we are using outdoor recreation as a differentiator for us here, and very excited about the opportunities that we have going forward to continue to do that and to engage college students and others to retain that talent here in the state. And as mentioned earlier, the Governor's One-Shot Turkey Hunt was earlier this year. Innovate was a sponsor of that. And as part of the sponsorship, we brought in a couple of different individuals to hunt. Mr. Abe Harper was able to participate in that as well. Appreciate Abe being there. But Luke Cooper, who's a VC guy out of Maryland, who happens to be a vegan, participated in the Governor's One-Shot Turkey Hunt, and he had the largest turkey. And just to show the impact that outdoor recreation can have in our state and what we're trying to accomplish here. The hug he gave me at the awards ceremony that when he came back and weighed his turkey and picked me up off the ground and said, I love this so much. I'm going to buy property here so I can come back and do this all the time and not just have to have special events. And I really want to invest more money in Alabama. This is fantastic. And he was talking as fast as he could talk. He was so excited. And so that just shows how we can use our assets that God has blessed us with in Alabama in the outdoor space to partner with industry and companies and VC to help grow jobs and businesses here in Alabama. And looking forward to continue doing a little bit more of that. And so thank you very much. And hopefully I stay within my 10 minutes.
Wonderful. And he also is participating in one of the venture funds, making an investment in the state and companies. And we've done, I think, what, $1 million? Was it $1 million match?
3 million.
3 million match. So really good progress on that.
Yeah. A $3 million turkey. I love it. Commissioner, thank you so much for your leadership and your engagement for a long time with us at what we're trying to accomplish with Innovate. All right, Ms. Crutchfield, we've done well.
That's right.
Yeah,
It's
navigated through.
over to you. And we're on time.
All right, for the good of the order, let me mention a couple of things that are important. Board meetings coming up, Point Clear, which will be our Q3 meeting. Madam CEO, do we have a specific date in August? There it is right in front of me. Thank you, Mr. Leader. August the 6th. So ask the board members to identify that on your calendar, as well as we've got something upcoming in December, and we'll get back to you with a specific date in December for that meeting, which is going to be in Birmingham. So, all right, do we have any other discussions or new business from any of the board members? Any topic we didn't cover that we need to talk
Mr. Chair, I have
about?
a question.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, and I'm going to show my lack of knowledge by asking this question. But just for my understanding, and Mr. Pro Tem, we've heard a lot today about AI. Politically, that's kind of an issue out there in the world. Are we concerned with our capacity at this point to do what we're talking about, what we heard about today? Or is that something we should discuss down? I mean, not today, but is that an issue that we're concerned about?
Well, I've seen the pro tem go for his microphone quickly, so he's got a comment on that, and I do as well. So, Mr. President.
I'll go first and let you finish this up, Mr. Chairman. Going to the President's Forum and everywhere else, energy distribution, energy creation, data centers, AI is the biggest issue facing every state as we move forward into this next generation. And if we don't start addressing that now and modifying our pillars here at Innovate, this is my opinion, I believe we're going to be left behind. And I don't think we're behind right now. I think we're going to be proactive in doing that, is my opinion. But it's up to this board. But that my opinion is that we have to do that as we move forward. But thank you for bringing that up. But I do think that it is something that we need to encompass with all of the energy consumption issues that we're going to be facing, especially in the legislature. Thank you.
I think Mr. Chairman, I think it's a great topic for this board to think about. We're to be the tip of the spear in topics associated with innovation and the most advanced areas of entrepreneurship and new things. And as this board continues to think about what is our mission, we've got a lot of topics that are very important to us and a report that gives us guidance. But the idea that we would begin to think about artificial intelligence as an element that this board would consider, I think we've certainly got a great group of men and women on the board that would be well positioned to offer good insight. And I think that's a topic that we can think about. I would agree with you. All right, other comments? All right, let me thank the board members for their participation. Thank all of the Innovate staff. Ms. Crutchfield, for your leadership. And Danny, thank you, sir, for the first meeting. We appreciate your willingness to throw in with us here. You'll have a lot to offer, and we're excited to be working with you.
My pleasure.
Yes, sir. All right, no other word. We stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Leader.